Simon Cowell was born on October 7, 1959, in London, into a family that looked comfortable from the outside but often felt emotionally distant on the inside. His mother, Julie Brett, had once been a ballet dancer, graceful and admired, yet young, Simon often felt she struggled to express affection openly. His father, Eric Cowell, worked in the music industry and believed deeply in discipline and achievement. Praise was rare and encouragement even rarer. Simon later admitted that although his parents cared for him, warmth was not always easy to find in their household. At school, he felt out of place, restless and bored rather than incapable. Teachers sometimes labeled him difficult, while Simon simply felt misunderstood. Those early years quietly shaped him. The boy who longed to be noticed began developing a strong determination to prove himself someday, even if he didn't yet know how that would happen. Restless years at school. School life never felt like a natural fit for Simon. He attended Radlett Preparatory School and later Dover College, but traditional education didn't capture his attention. Rather than excelling in exams, he often challenged rules and questioned authority. Teachers saw a rebellious student, while Simon felt trapped in a system that rewarded conformity more than curiosity. He left school with only a few qualifications and little sense of direction. For many young people, that moment might have felt like the beginning of failure, and Simon admitted that he struggled with self-doubt during those years. Watching classmates move on to university or careers made him wonder where he belonged. Yet those uncertain years also planted something valuable inside him. He began to realize that the path he would follow probably wouldn't look like everyone else's. The challenge was discovering where his instincts and interests could finally meet opportunity. The mailroom beginning. Simon's first real step into the music world came through a small opportunity arranged by his father at EMI Music Publishing. Starting in the mailroom was hardly glamorous. Day after day, he sorted letters, carried packages, and watched producers and executives pass by without noticing him. But rather than giving up, Simon paid close attention to everything happening around him. He listened to conversations about artists, marketing, and record deals. Slowly, he began to understand how the industry actually worked. Fame, he realized, was not just about talent. It also involved timing, presentation, and understanding what audiences wanted to hear. The job sometimes felt humbling, but it also became an education that no classroom could have offered. The mailroom quietly became his training ground, teaching him how the entertainment business functioned behind the scenes. Early risks in the music industry. By the early 1980s, Simon had worked his way into a junior A&R role, helping identify potential music acts. Feeling confident, he eventually decided to take a major risk by starting a small label called Fanfare Records with a business partner. For a time, things looked promising. A few novelty pop songs became modest hits, and Simon experienced the excitement of success for the first time. The music industry suddenly felt like a place where he might truly belong. Yet the business can change quickly, and by the late 1980s, the label struggled as musical trends shifted. Sales dropped, contracts ended, and the company eventually collapsed. Simon found himself facing financial pressure and uncertainty about the future. It was a difficult period, but it also taught him valuable lessons about resilience, humility, and how unpredictable the entertainment world can be. Learning from failure. Returning to his parents' home during that difficult time was not easy. At around 30 years old, Simon felt as if he had lost the momentum he had worked so hard to build. Still, the experience forced him to rethink his approach to the industry. Instead of trying to impress critics or insiders, he started focusing on what everyday listeners actually enjoyed. That shift in perspective proved powerful. Working with major companies again, he began helping produce records designed for broad audiences rather than niche acclaim. The strategy worked. Several projects became commercially successful, reminding him that popular appeal could be just as meaningful as critical praise. Slowly, his reputation in the industry began to recover. What had once felt like failure gradually transformed into a turning point that sharpened his instincts and rebuilt his confidence. The television opportunity. In 2001, a new opportunity appeared when television producer Simon Fuller created a singing competition called Pop Idol. Simon Cowell was invited to be one of the judges. Television was unfamiliar territory for him, and he initially hesitated. But when the show aired, viewers quickly noticed his straightforward judging style. Instead of giving gentle compliments to every contestant, Simon spoke honestly about performances, both good and bad. The approach was different from traditional talent shows and surprisingly refreshing to many viewers. The program became a major success in the United Kingdom. For Simon, it was the beginning of a new chapter where his experience in music combined with a strong on-screen personality. A global phenomenon. The success of Pop Idol soon led to an American version called American Idol in 2002. The show quickly became one of the most watched programs in the United States. Winners like Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood went on to build major music careers. Simon's direct commentary made him one of the most recognizable figures on television. Viewers either loved his blunt honesty or strongly disagreed with it, but almost everyone paid attention. Suddenly, the former mailroom worker had become a global entertainment figure. His ability to identify potential stars and connect with audiences turned him into one of the most influential people in televised music competitions. Building an entertainment empire. Simon didn't stop with one show. In 2004, he launched The X Factor, which expanded the idea of talent competitions by allowing groups and a wider range of performers. The show helped introduce acts such as One Direction and Leona Lewis to international audiences. Soon after, another concept arrived: Britain's Got Talent and its international counterpart, America's Got Talent. These programs welcomed singers, dancers, comedians, and unique performers of all kinds. One unforgettable moment came when Susan Boyle stunned audiences with her remarkable voice during an audition. Over time, versions of the Got Talent format appeared in dozens of countries, creating a truly global entertainment franchise. Personal life and fatherhood. Despite his professional success, Simon spent many years focused primarily on work. That changed in 2014 when his son Eric was born. Becoming a father introduced a new sense of balance into his life. Simon has often spoken about how parenthood shifted his priorities, encouraging him to spend more time at home and less time rushing between business commitments. Activities that once seemed ordinary, reading bedtime stories, sharing meals, or watching movies together, became deeply meaningful. Friends and colleagues noticed a calmer, more reflective side of him emerging. The experience reminded him that achievements and awards matter far less than relationships and personal connections. Fatherhood became a grounding force that helped him appreciate life beyond the spotlight, challenges and reflection. Life continued to bring challenges, including health setbacks after 2 electric bike accidents in 2020 and 2022. The injuries required surgery and long recovery periods, reminding Simon of the importance of slowing down and taking care of himself. During those months of rehabilitation, family support and patience played a crucial role. He later spoke about how the experience encouraged him to rethink his pace of life and appreciate everyday moments. Rather than constantly chasing new projects, he began focusing more on well-being, time with loved ones, and mentoring new talent in a more thoughtful way. Difficult moments often bring perspective, and for Simon, those experiences encouraged a more balanced outlook. A legacy beyond television today, Simon Cowell is still closely associated with global entertainment, but his outlook has evolved. While his shows continue to discover talented performers, he often emphasizes encouragement and constructive guidance rather than simply criticism. His production company remains influential, yet he increasingly speaks about philanthropy and opportunities for young people who lack resources. The journey from a restless student to an internationally known producer has been filled with ups and downs, but it also reflects persistence and growth. Simon's story shows that success rarely follows a straight line. Instead, it develops through experimentation, setbacks, and the willingness to keep moving forward even when the path feels uncertain.